First, I'm going to say congratulations to Errol, the true Spence, for retaining his IBF welterweight title, making his first defense of his title against Lamont Peterson. And all I got to say is, well, there's nothing much to say about this fight, is that Errol Spence dominated the fight. It was stopped before the eighth round. Actually, Lamont Peterson, he had retired in his corner. He quit. And this is actually the second fighter in a row that Errol Spence made quit, and I think this is his fifth consecutive knockout in a row. I could be wrong. I have to go back and check. I think this is his fifth or his sixth consecutive knockout. I think it's his fifth, but I could be wrong on that. But anyways, I know a lot of people are running around with the Lomachenko memes with the No Mas Lomachenko, hashtag No Mas Lomachenko. Well, somebody need to create a hashtag meme of No Mas Spence. I mean, him and Lomachenko is going to be in competition with each other on a string of making fighters quit. I mean, this is the second fight in a row that he's made someone quit. But again, look, is it the most impressive thing? No, it isn't, making a fighter quit. I mean, but it is something to look at, absolutely. But, I mean, I'm just saying, though, people running around with the Lomachenko memes, hashtag No Mas Lomachenko. Hell, somebody should start the No Mas Spence hashtag. In fact, I'm going to start that right now. But anyways, Earl did show much more improvement in this fight than he did against Gil Brook. I will say that, though. Much more improvement. And all I can say is that he showed a multiplicity of skills. He actually showed some angles. He was able to box from long range, set up his shots, particularly in the body. Because obviously we all know that's where he targets. He targets downstairs, so that way he can weaken his opponents to keep them stationary, so that way he can keep them from moving. And he thoroughly outclassed and dominated Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson, all fairness, though, he suffered the knockdown. I think it was in the fourth round or something like that. He was he held a tight guard, and then Errol Spence came in with top with the left hook to the temple that dropped him, and he was battling back, and he was actually getting, he was actually having some bit of success with exchanging with Errol Spence in the inside. The thing about Errol, the one thing I would say as far as his chink in his armor is concerned, is that he tends to keep himself wide open when he's fighting in close quarters. He's got to stop doing that, man, because he was getting clipped with some monsters rights by Peterson, in some parts of the fight, and Errol didn't really, it had no effect on him. He walked through those punches, but at the same time, imagine if that was someone who was a much heavier hand and much bigger puncher than Lamont Peterson. Let's say Keith Thurman, for example. Keith Thurman is a naturally bigger guy. He hits a lot harder than Lamont Peterson. Imagine that was Thurman hitting him with those rights. I mean, I'm not saying that he would have got knocked down. What I'm saying is that he probably would have been hurt. I mean, because Peterson really clipped him with some rights. And I don't know, man. I mean, Errol will have to really tighten up on his defense a bit more, man. That's the one thing I have to say about him. He's got all the tools. He definitely has all the skills. But he definitely's got to tighten up on that defense, especially when he's fighting in close quarters like that. Because that's one thing, when he's going to look at that tape, he's definitely going to have to identify his flaws. Definitely is from a defensive aspect of it. He's going to have to correct that when he's further stepping up his competition. But, as expected, Errol took the chance to use his post-fight interview time in the ring to call out Keith Thurman, and Keith Thurman responded, as you can see right here on this on his Instagram posts. I follow Keith, by the way. He says here, quote, "I see you, young buck. I see you, young buck. Now be patient. Your time is coming. Hashtag one time." So, well, like I tell you guys, I think Keith Thurman wants that fight, but he wants it on his terms. That's exactly what he's doing right here, man. I typically don't agree with that type of tactic, that strategy that Thurman is using, because that's exactly what Floyd did. I don't like it, but at the same time, I see where he's going with this. You know what I mean? I really don't. And looking at Errol Spence's performance, I did say that I think Terrence Crawford would beat him. I don't know. Based off this, I may have to change my prediction on that. But who knows? Then again, I might still slightly favor Crawford to win it, but After what he did to Lamont Peterson, I am not sure. But then again, Terrence Crawford is a much better fighter than Lamont Peterson. Much more fighter on the caliber and the pedigree than Lamont Peterson. Well, I say much better, but I would say he is actually a better fighter, I should say, than Lamont Peterson. Now, as far as Lamont Peterson is concerned, I believe that him and his team are going to go back and they're going to figure out what they're going to do next. If he's going to continue to fight or should he continue to his career for a few more fights. I mean, he definitely had a very tough career. I mean, if he decides to retire, hey, he had a good career. He had a very tough career. But is he a Hall of Fame status? To be honest with you, I like Lamont, but I don't think he's a Hall of Fame fighter. No, I don't think so. He's had some decent wins, can't knock him for that. He had a good win against Kendall Holt. So forth, many others. He could keep his head up high if he decides to retire. But as far as Hall of Fame is concerned, I don't think he's Hall of Fame status. I mean, anybody can disagree with me on that. That's fine, but it is what it is. But the big question is where does Errol Spence Jr. go from here? Now, who do we want to see him in the ring next with? I mean, I know when we look at the IBF rankings, it's not too many bodies there. I mean, I think I know one of the guys, Romanov, I think, he was supposed to fight him, but Romanov ducked out of the fight against him, so that's not going to happen. I mean, of course, you have the other champions in, Jeff Horn and Keith Thurman, but Keith Thurman supposedly is supposed to be sealing a deal with Jesse Vargas, but we haven't heard anything about that yet. I don't know what's going on with that situation. Then Jeff Horn is tied up with Terrence Crawford, so if Terrence Crawford beats Jeff Horn, and things would get more interesting, man. And again, Terrence Crawford, I have to see how well Terrence Crawford does against Jeff Horn. Then maybe I will stick to my old prediction. But looking at this fight, I don't know, man. I might, like I said, I might still favor Crawford, but again, I say this fight is really very, very close than what I initially thought. So, based off this performance by Spence, I mean, very good performance. This is the second fighter in a row, the second world champion in a row that he made quit, by the way. I know Algieri, he stopped him by TKO. But actually, no, he fought Algieri before he fought Bundu. So, obviously, this is the third, his third of his last four fights that he stopped a world champion. So, a former world champion, that is, I should say. And this is the second fight in a row that he made someone quit. And I think this is his fifth or sixth straight TKO victory or knockout victory. So, definitely, Errol Spence definitely got the goods, man. He's definitely got the goods. So, again, where does he go from here? I have a chance to look at the IBF rankings. I don't know, man. The IBF welterweight rankings is not that deep. I know Sean Porter had bypassed his opportunity to be ranked by the IBF, so that's not going to happen because he's more focused on the WBC. He's trying to get his rematch with Keith Thurman. I think he's named the mandatory challenger. Now, as far as Danny Garcia is concerned, he's not ranked by the IBF, and he's got that WBC eliminator bout against Brandon Rios. Manny Pacquiao, not going to happen. He's not going nowhere near Errol Spence Jr. In fact, Pacquiao was trying to get a fight with Lomachenko, for what I've heard, and of course Lomachenko's team rejected it. And they say, look, we don't gain nothing from that victory. You can probably see where they're coming from on that. Manny Pacquiao is all due respect to Manny, he's definitely not the same guy anymore, and I think he just really needs to retire at this point, if you ask me. But again, if he's looking for one more fight, then that's his prerogative. I mean, who do we to question who he wants to fight next, especially if he doesn't have a belt? But at the same time, I think he just needs to call it quits. He's had a very long, great career, tough, but definitely a Hall of Famer, no question about it. But it is what it is. But I don't see Pacquiao going nowhere near Spence. But yeah, it's definitely see what's going to happen, from this standpoint. But I'll definitely keep my eye out on this. But the one thing I would like is for Errol Spence is to be more active, man. He needs to be more active. I think he's got the tools and the wherewithal to fight 3 times a year. if you ask me, in my opinion. But anyways, let me know what you guys thoughts about this. I'm out. Peace.